Welcome back to Stranded in Pittsburgh. Oh, how we missed you. Oh, how Ethan missed you. Look at him over there giggling with excitement. It's Nick Hedrick, Ethan Morrison, back once again. Talk all things Pittsburgh sports. Quick little episode tonight. We're just excited to be back after one of our infamous unplanned hiatuses. I don't think that's the right tense of that word. But anyway, we're going to talk about the Young Bucks. Exciting series against the Dodgers. The first two games, anyway. The game tonight, we're not going to talk about at all. We might address it in passing, but we're not going to focus on that because that's not the big story right now. Talk about some Steelers news, and then we're going to get out of here. But before we do get out of here, we have an exciting new game we're going to give a try, inspired by something, I can't believe I'm going to say this, something I saw on TikTok. Not too proud of that. Not my proudest hour, not my finest moment, but a man filled with fine moments and fine work. Ethan Morrison, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. It's great to be back. I mean, it's been probably over a month now since I've at least been on the pod. So it's great to be back. Great to be chatting it up with you again, and just a lot to talk about this week, especially with how the Pirates have been playing and that young core has been doing. So I'm excited to get into that and some Steelers offseason news.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll start right off the rip with the Young Bucks, as I called them earlier. Really big series against the Dodgers. I feel like there's been some pretty positive momentum for this team as of late. That all could have came crashing down against the Dodgers. And today, again, it's not going too well with Bailey Falter on the mound. But, I mean, what more could you have asked for in those first two games of the series? You look at this lineup and, they keep saying it all over social media, the Pirates payroll versus the Dodgers payroll, and you'll never guess which team won or whatever they like to say. I mean, but this is what you want. You want to see how your two young aces so far this year are going to stack up against Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and others. I mean, that's all in a row. That's their first three batters for that lineup out there in Los Angeles. And I mean, they held their own. And it was really exciting to watch, and it was very promising for the future as well. That's kind of stating the obvious, but I mean, just so much hope now with this starting rotation. And I think that kind of amplifies some of the anger that we've seen with some of the bats on this team, some of the bullpen issues. But to their credit, the bullpen this series has done a very good job. We saw Chapman hit, 104, maybe multiple times last night, now 2 nights ago on Wednesday. Incredible stuff. And it's, again, the baseball season is a long time. And, if they get in a rhythm here, they start figuring some things out, we'll see what happens. But Ethan, I mean, what do you want to jump into here from these first two games against the Dodgers and kind of the recent string of play from the Bucks?
I think you just got to look at, obviously, just stating the obvious, Paul Skenes and Jared Jones, but just looking at this rotation as a whole and how it's really just blossomed into just a line of 4 solidified starters that all know their role and all know their place in the rotation. That besides Falter's game this evening on Thursday has been incredible and just completely out of left field with how he's been able to pitch over these past few weeks. But just looking at this solidified rotation, at the beginning of the season, I don't think any of us would have guessed that the rotation would be as solid as it is. It was looking to be the opposite of where the bullpen would be picking up the slack, where they had that depth in the bullpen, and the starters would be the ones that are struggling. But it's been the complete opposite with just how Mitch Keller has been able to pitch, especially in the month of May and now into June. I think he has the second most 5+ inning starts in Pirates history. I think it's the longest streak in Major League Baseball history, I think dating back a couple of years now. I believe I saw that stat today. But just what he's been able to do, throwing that complete game at the beginning of May, after a lackluster April, and just how he's been able to turn the corner and turn the page and the search that he was able to do. I mean, he's that veteran guy in this rotation now that needs to lead by example, and he's done just that. And behind him, Jared Jones and Paul Skenes, I mean, they've been as advertised so far. Jared Jones, he kind of had a rough couple of starts in the month of May, but man, against the Dodgers, was he just lights out and electric, didn't allow a run. I mean, the margin was as thin as could be just with that one run with the Jack Sawinski home run. And just what he was able to do against that top part of the order, Nick. I know, like you said, holding them at bay, and just the work that he was able to put in on Tuesday night was just, something that you really, really like to see out of a young guy like Jared Jones. And in the other half of the Allegheny Electric Company, Paul Skenes. And
Wow.
even though it was his on paper worst start in the majors um, on Wednesday, allowing 3 runs, by way of the long ball, giving up that home run to Shohei Ohtani, I still think a very, very solid outing. Still was able to pick up the win. It wasn't a quality start in the end, but he was able to battle. He got out of a bases loaded jam, I believe, in his last inning of work. So just the way he was able to stay poised under pressure, even giving up those few runs late in his start, after a very, very solid start to his outing on Wednesday. There's not really more that you can ask for it for his continued growth and development at the major league level. You've just seen this rotation continue to grow. And lastly, I'll touch on Bailey Falter and just what he's been able to do. He hasn't gotten the run support as of late when he's gone out to the mound, but he's just been incredible from where you thought he would be at the beginning of the year as a back end guy in the rotation. He's been more of one of their more solid starters out of the group there over the course of these past couple of weeks. And if you have that, and this offense can somehow be at least a little bit consistent, you're going to win some ball games. And you saw that these first 2 games against LA, and you saw it in Toronto on Saturday. They can just have a little bit of consistency. They're going to win some ball games down the stretch here, and it's a marathon and not a sprint. And I know I mentioned that a lot, but the way they're playing now and the way that they're playing against top competition and teams above 500 is a recipe for success.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I wanted to grab on there was you said that Skenes and Jared Jones were poised, and I thought that was a great way to describe it. Uh, Jared Jones got in a little trouble early, and he was fine. That he was tested right away, and he came out of it unscathed. Paul Skenes, again, he was going pretty much viral in the MLB circles. Him versus Ohtani. I mean, that is a video game matchup there. You fire up the PS5 or Series X and you launch up an exhibition game, and that's a matchup you want to play. Made me feel old because going into the game, Skeens like, oh, I watched Ohtani play growing up. And I said, Ohtani's been in the league that long. Holy crap. But I mean, it was crazy. He struck him out. He just brought the heat 3 straight times. He said, here's my best. Give me your best. Round 1 went to Skeens. Round 2 went to Ohtani. It would have been easy for Skeens, who, again, it hasn't been smooth sailing consistently. That first start, he had a little rough of a going, but then he rebounded well against Chicago, and it hasn't been too bad from there. But, you're facing that intimidating Dodgers lineup. The best player in baseball just took you yard to deep center. It could have been easy for a guy like that to lose his composure and, things go off the rails. Gateway Clipper maybe clips some of the foundation along the river and it starts taking on water. But no, he held his own, gave up one more run, and a 3-run start against the Dodgers, not too bad. Not too bad. I'll take that a lot. And the Pirates seem to really enjoy hitting the baseball when Paul Skeens is on the mound. I don't know why that's not a contagious thing, but whenever Paul Skeens is out there, they give him run support. So, I mean, it was a good outing against the Dodgers all around for this Pirates club. And again, there's not much more I can add personally. That wouldn't be beating a dead horse at this point, but just the maturity from these 2 guys has been great to see. And I'm really excited to see what they can do. They got a lot of time under Pirates control still. Mitch Keller signed for a while. You have some of the staples in Key Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds, and some others still under control. You can get a guy like Bailey Falter to keep playing well. And again, I know tonight there's a little asterisk. He's not had a good outing tonight on Thursday here, but you get a guy like Falter to be manageable. You get a guy like Quinn Priester to finally play at least to most of his potential at some point. This rotation could be really good for quite some time here as this window continues to open before all these prospects start getting their service time up and we see them getting traded or we see them, hitting free agency, there's a little window here where the stars could align pretty well for the Pirates and they can really make a push. Do I really see them as a threat this year, even if things continue to kind of trend the way they are? I don't know. But next year, the year after, I really think finally, and I feel like we've been saying that for almost half a decade now, maybe in a few years now, we can finally see this team start going places. But I really believe next year, the year after, if things keep progressing the way they are, this could be a club to watch out for.
Yeah, and I think just moving forward now and where they're at and where they're sitting at right now in the central standings, obviously they're in second to last place, but if you can just find some consistency and start winning ball games, you're already sensing this Bucko fever back in the air in Pittsburgh. 29,000 on a Wednesday night in the middle of the week, middle of the work week. Seeing Paul Skenes pitch. If you can at least play with some consistency down the stretch, I mean, who knows? I mean, this team could turn a corner here and really start to string some wins together and really outperform, especially where things were looking at a month ago. So it's all a matter of how do they approach these next couple of weeks? Can they continue to play the way that they are playing? And come July, you might be asking questions. If this team were to make one or two moves to solidify the bullpen or solidify a bat in the lineup, you could be looking at a little subtle push up and potentially to be a threat in the playoffs. Obviously, it's way, way, way too early to say, and I'm not going to jump the gun on that at all. But just looking at how, especially a guy like outside of the pitchers, but Nick Gonzalez, how he was able to come up for the first time this year in the middle of May, and just the work that he put in the minor leagues to really fix his swing. He's been outstanding at the plate for the Pirates, and also defensively at second. He's just been an incredible guy to fill the void there in the middle of the infield. So just to see guys like that turn things around, you would hope that Davis is on that switch as well, and he's able to turn some things around there at the catching position after a disastrous first month of the year. And then a guy like Jack Sawinski, who's also struggled in the first 2 months of the year, he goes down, fixes some things with his swing. If he can start putting some things together, you're looking at a lineup that can do some damage on a night-to-night basis.
Yeah, I completely agree. They're only a game out of a playoff spot right now, I believe, too. I think that'll
Right.
change after tonight. But this new wild card, it's crazy that a team that's still 4 or 5 games under 500, they're right there in that picture still. And granted, it's still early. A lot of things are going to shape out still. But it's wild to think that this team, for how dire the situation felt a month ago, even 3 weeks ago or so, and they're right back in that picture, flirting around, maybe on pace for that 80 wins or so that we all very maybe foolishly predicted them to finish at 85 or 86 win ball club. Personally, again, I'm excited, and I keep saying that, but this is what you want. You don't want people tuning out, half-assing their fandom by the middle of May, and I think we were very close to people checking out already. Maybe going and pursuing hobbies that make them happy in the summer instead of watching this team 162 times. But I mean, they're reeling people back in, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing from this team. Love to see some more consistency from O'Neal Cruz. He either is on it or he looks lost, and he is a huge piece to this puzzle. You don't need me to remind you or tell you that, but you look at an at bat like his first at bat versus Glasnow, and he looked absolutely lost up there. And it's either that or he's mashing the ball 500 feet. And I would just love for him to find some sort of rhythm. I'm not sure if it's going to happen with the current hitting coaching up there with Haynes in the MLB level. They're obviously not going to send him down. Don't think I was implying that. But I mean, I would love to see them find some kind of way for him to be consistent, tweak something to make him a little more consistent to where we can get production out of him the whole year long.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you just need to, fix some things there. And yeah, it's just all about just making those switches now and just seeing if things can click up in where you want them to be. And if they click at the right time, I mean, you're set. I mean, we've seen O'Neal Cruz and what he's been able to do, his athleticism, but sometimes he's like you said, Nick. He's just not all there with it, whether that be out in the field or at the plate. So just things that he needs to tweak. But if you can get him going, I mean, the sky's the limit with him and what he's and with his athleticism, what he's able to do.
Mm-hmm. Leave Rowdy Tellez in a lifeboat on the river too, by the way. Just kidding. Don't do anything that extreme, but the fact they've got guys that could replace him. I don't know what more Jake Lamb needed to do to get a shot a couple weeks ago, but I have no clue. But he plays well in Canada. Maybe send him back up to Toronto. Him and Vogelback can be together and do a lot of damage up there together, I guess. But whatever, teach their own. Teach their own is how I felt too when I heard that the Steelers are bringing back Cam Sutton. I wish I could adequately word how I want to say this, and I don't want to say any of this. Ethan's getting background checked right now, so I don't want anything to be taken out of context or anything. But this is a guy who, 2 months ago, allegedly choked a woman, and then no one could find him for like 3 weeks, and really not much has come of it since. We can sit here and point at teams like the Chiefs that are just employing a bunch of guys who are getting into all kinds of trouble off the field and point at this team and this team and this team. But then Pittsburgh goes out and does this. Why? He didn't have a good year last year, and I know a lot of people are saying, well, he's going to play on the inside this year, and it'll be better. It'll be better. Maybe that's true. He was cheap. Great. But why? Why, after what just happened less than 2 months ago, why is this your grand plan to keep bolstering that secondary? A secondary that needs bolstering. I understand that. But why are we going this route? It's never okay to do something like what he's accused of doing. Again, allegedly. But right now, these things are even more under a microscope because we're finally holding it accountable. Hey, maybe these kinds of people should not be getting chances to do this. Again, I don't think there's been any sort of he's been found guilty or anything. But why now? Why is this the move we're going to make here? After all the moves this team has made, seems like they're bringing in a good culture, a good crop of draft picks, good experienced veterans who actually seem to be making a difference. Why was this the move? And I get you get your little Steelers woo-hoo reunion tour where they love bringing guys back and thanking them and slap assing and whatnot, but I don't know. This was a little disappointing to me. Not sure I quite understand it, but we'll see what happens, I guess. Ethan?
Yeah, I don't have much more to add. Just want to bounce off of that culture part. I think rebuilding the culture is a big thing, and what this team needs. This team needed a shakeup in culture, and whether it was moving guys in the offseason and trying to get everyone on the same page and just have a fresh slate, a clean slate with some veteran guys, Nick, like you said, and some guys that want to that can buy in and can get the group to buy in, especially with the mix of young young talent and seasoned vets. This one just doesn't make any sense. I mean, like you said, what he's accused of is not someone that you want on your team. And like you said, we see this across the NFL teams signing players like this that have the baggage of these alleged crimes and things of that nature. And if you're the Steelers right now, that you're really bought into wanting to change the culture and find a sense of that winning culture like it once was, you're just not getting it here. And it was just a very puzzling move today, especially with how Sutton played last year as well and what he did in Detroit.
The thing I'm really hung up on is the fact that they couldn't find him for like 3 weeks after the initial warrant and search came out. That's the part that really troubles me. But I'm not going to talk about that any longer because I don't want to accidentally mix up a detail or might have accidentally missed something and I'm leaving out a huge detail. Minka Ball, you see it on the screen there. Minka Fitzpatrick last year, some injuries. Not many plays were made by Minka. I think his first NFL season without a turnover created. I think Nate and I talked about this about a month or two ago. The most notable thing Minka did last year was be involved in that play where Nick Chubb unfortunately had his leg torn to pieces, which Chubb just came out and said he doesn't hold any ill will against Minka. He doesn't think it was dirty. So Browns fans probably had some trouble sleeping after hearing that one, after that's all they could bring up every time something with Minka came into the news for a while. Excuse me. But with the additions of these guys to their secondary, Minka told Pittsburgh Sports Now, I would like to get back to playing Minka ball, which is that ball hawk kind of mentality where we saw him generate 6 turnovers 2 years ago. They got guys like Elliott that they've signed. They got Joey Porter Jr., homegrown talent, played down at Happy Valley. Excited to see what he can do year 2 at Pittsburgh. That lineage justified this time to play into the little homecoming tour by signing Joey Porter Jr. Dante Jackson from the trade with Deontay Johnson. Again, I'm not too high on him, but they're getting depth. They're getting guys with starting experience, decent amount of playing experience. So they're hoping to get the return of Minka Ball this year. Minka is, as is probably this whole Steelers team. We know what we can expect from him. We hope we can get back to that this season. Ethan, any thoughts on Minka saying, last year was a down year, but this year we're going to bring it back?
Yeah, that's what you want. That's what you want out of this defense. You want guys to make those flashy turnover plays, just running all around the field, not having to worry about too many different things. And that's something that Minka does best. If he can just be able to roam and be that type of guy, I think he might have mentioned it maybe a few years ago, and just how he's able to be so effective is just his ability to be able to roam, not be too caught up on covering one zone and the other zone, or this, that, or the other, and just his ability to roam and be out in the open there. That's what you want, and that's what this Steelers defense was made of over even pre-COVID, and what they were able to do, and then even into COVID and those years following, was just their ability to make those big time plays and big time turnovers and those big time moments, especially late in the game, and those defensive stands that they were able to make. That's what this defense was built off of, and to have that sort of mentality in your head, especially if you're Minka Fitzpatrick, who, like you said, Nick, had a down year last year. There's not much more that you can ask for. And now at this point, you just got to wait and see see what he's able to do, especially with the depth starting to be built up with some guys in the secondary that you would hope gives Minka some more freedom to be out on his own and not have to worry about commanding the secondary as much as he had to do and fill so many voids last year. So you hope this is a welcome sight for him, and that this defense can get back to playing how they want to play and how they are trying to play. Oh, the Pirates just tied up the game. Gonzo home run.
Wow.
Tie ball game 4-4. Anywho, just get back to how they were playing, like when they were one of the best defenses in the league just a few years ago. Just getting back to that, I think it's the biggest key in being able to create those turnovers like they did back a few years ago. That's going to be the biggest key for them, for this defense.
Mm-hmm. I think the Steelers obviously have been a mediocre team the last few years, with barely grazing by, finishing over 500. And when you look at, some of these games, when they make the playoffs, when they've been able to squeak in and get a chance in the playoffs these past couple years where they've made it, there's never any optimism. And I think one of the main reasons there was no optimism is because how is the Steelers secondary going to stop Patrick Mahomes? How's the Steelers secondary going to stop Josh Allen? How's the Steelers secondary going to stop a team like Miami, who has just a ton of speed? And I appreciate that they are addressing the secondary as much as they have been this year. Do I agree that it's, entirely fixed? No, I don't think so. But they're putting the pieces in motion. They've went out and brought in some really good players on defense this year. And now I feel better about them playing some of those heavy hitter juggernaut kind of offenses in the AFC on that march to the Super Bowl. Do I feel like I'm able to not be clenching my behind when I watch yet? No, but I think we're getting closer than where we were the last couple of seasons. So I like this, and I would love to see Minka Fitzpatrick get back to that free roaming kind of role that he used to play. Again, when you got older guys, you have guys who aren't too experienced in there. Minka needs to be set in his way, and he can't go out and roam like that. You don't have that kind of trust that you can rely on others to hold their own. So I think this year, again, is a good opportunity for him to get back to that. And the fact that he's talking about it, he's admitting it, and he's eager to get out there and get back to his old form. That's exactly what you want to hear. And I'm really excited to see what he's able to do. Ethan's cheesing over there.
I don't think we're ever in our lifetime ever going to get that. Oh, I'm not going to be all uptight and nervous about this team, because they're always going to find a way to keep it one possession down to the last drive of the game. I don't think we're ever going to. We might have a game or two a year like that Seattle game at the end of the season last year, where we can just relax and enjoy our Sundays without any a stress-free Sunday. But no, this team, I mean, they're always going to find a way to keep it close. And but yeah, I mean, I think just back to your point, I think just with him just being able to have some more trust in his guys and in that group, with the mix of veteran and youthfulness, especially with Joey Porter coming back for his second season now, and the season that he put together his first year. A little bit more trust built back there in the secondary that will give Minka some more freedom to do what he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right, unfortunately. I don't think we're ever going to know peace. But
No, never.
Oh, how greedy are we? We watched this team win 2 Super Bowls, play in 3, and we're out here complaining. That's an issue, though, when they win so much when you're younger. Then you just
Right.
have the rest of your life to sit there and just be terrified.
Salt. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I know it's early. I know spitballing, things change. Really like to do some more of those Steelers post-game live streams this upcoming season. So hopefully that's something I can say watch out for. Again, they have some weird scheduling towards the end of the season. A damn Christmas night game on Netflix. But I mean, for the majority of games, I would like to go live afterwards. Maybe if the stars align, we'll do that for the Pirates too. And I know it's always fun to say things like this and then we never act on it, but we'll see. We'll see. Those are things I would like to do. But anyway, I teased a game earlier. It's time to play it. I don't know if you've seen the TikTok trend, Ethan, where people will say a word and they progressively have to work closer and closer till they say the same word at the same time.
Oh, geez.
So we're going to do that, but we're going to do it with Steelers players. So we're both on the count of 3 going to say the name of a Steelers player, and we have to keep going until we say the same player at the same time. I don't know how this is going to work doing it over the internet, if there's going to be a lag and it's going to just be ruined immediately. But we're going to try it. And if it doesn't work, we're not going to edit it out. We're going to show you that we tried to do something new and exciting and it just didn't work. And we're going to leave the video and audio proof in it for all of you watching at home. So Steelers players, any era, any position in the depth chart, they could have played for a week. It could have been the guy they cut to bring back Cam Sutton, that wide receiver that was on the team for like a week. It could be him even. We'll get there eventually. So I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3. Not going to say go. Just 1, 2, 3. Give me the name. All right. Are you ready, Ethan?
We're saying this at the same time, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then we're going to use where the other guy's headspace is to work closer until we say the same player.
Okay.
If that makes okay.
I think it makes sense. Okay. Well, let's just run it.
We'll just run it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Jerome
Dre
Bettis.
Archer.
Oh, okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Lamar
James
Sweed. Oh, Ethan went backwards.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. LeGarrette Blount.
Blue lips.
Oh, there's no rhyme or reason to where you're going.
Oh my! No, I don't. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay. I'm gonna go back towards you. I'm gonna go towards you in my era. Actually, I think that's breaking a rule that I even did that. Uh, 1, 2, 3. Antoine
Le'Veon Bell.
Randall L. Okay, now we flip flopped again. We're jumping eras. We just have to get on the same
We
page.
have to get on the same era?
Well, we got to be in the right headspace, you know.
Right.
1, 2, 3.
Terry
Antonio Brown.
Bradshaw. Oh
Wow,
my
this
god, we
is
flipped
this
again.
is what are we doing, Ethan? What are we doing?
Oh my
What are we
gosh.
doing? This is awful. 1, 2, 3. Heinz
Eli
Ward.
Rogers.
This is this is tough.
Oh my gosh, this is
This is
brutal.
tough. This is brutal. I'm giving it 2 more. 2 more before I call it. Unless we're getting really close. 1, 2, 3.
Heath
Dennis
Miller.
Dixon.
Oh
La
my gosh.
last attempt. 1, 2, 3. Jesse
Byron
James.
Leftwich.
Oh, damn it. Wait, no, we're
Uh,
close. We're gonna go again. We're gonna go again.
are we?
Yeah, we're gonna go one more time. 1, 2, 3. Michael
Jeff
Vick.
Reed.
Okay. That's enough of that. That's enough
Oh
of that.
my gosh.
Throw in the towel.
Throw in
That
the
was
towel.
we tried. We really did try. Wave it. Yeah, that's it. That's over. Wow, that was
Oh
painful
my
listening, I'm
gosh.
sure.
Oh
Uh
my.
wow. Do you have a last call tonight?
I didn't really think of one up.
I didn't either. I
No.
didn't either. Well, that was a horrible way to end the episode then. Just awful.
I think that's fine. Just leave it raw like that.
Just
Leave it how it is right there. We failed. We miserably failed on that game. What maybe next week we can get in here. We have some better luck.
maybe. StreamYard now basically mutes us if I try to play the music in the
I saw
background
that. That was very
in the
weird.
outro. So I apologize. We're a disgrace. It's over. Hopefully we'll be back as soon as next week. Not any more month-long hiatuses, but we appreciate you for checking us out, and we will see you all next week. That's Ethan Morrison. I'm Nick Hedrick. Take care of yourselves.